Good afternoon, guys. I know it's been a while, but we are back. Today we're going to be doing a AEW versus WWE debate. I'm just waiting on my guests to show up. Anybody is tuning in, welcome. And we're just trying to have a nice little debate. I got a couple people that are big wrestling fans on both sides, both AEW and WWE, and they wanted us all to, three of us, to stream together and bring all these ideas to the table. It's more a rant fest than anything. So, just thought I'd get started with that. You guys, if you're in the chat or just watching, let me know what your opinions are. How do you think wrestling is? What's your favorite stuff in wrestling? And what do you think would be a good idea for it to go forward? Give me 1 second. Because I'm live streaming on my phone, so I'm trying to figure out everything. Because I was always used to live streaming on my computer. What is up, Nate? Welcome.
Hey, man, how you doing?
Pretty good. How's it going with you, bro?
Everything's fine. Everything's good. Everything's live.
I was going to do a full epic rap battles, but the wrestling version, but I didn't want to get struck down. So.
Yeah, I understand. I definitely understand.
That's why I said, you decide.
You funny.
So the big headline coming out this morning was Jeff Hardy. Where is saying his AEW contract's up. He's had creative frustration with Tony Khan, and where do you think he should go?
Tony Khan sucks.
And it's also being reported that TNA has high interest in him right now. So,
of course, he can help out a lot of people.
Dude, we saw the highlights. Me and Raph saw the highlights from Impact last night. It brought back my love for cinematic type storytelling in wrestling. Like, it was so freaking good.
It was wonderful.
What cracks me up about TNA is that they can literally decapitate somebody and then you see them on the next one.
It was absolutely.
And I love Matt Hardy twist the faded move.
I was never a fan of Rebby, but when she did that to Alicia Edwards, I was just like, yes.
Obsolete.
That was fun. Like, I was watching.
These are the rarest things.
And then they're going to put Rosemary in a feud with freaking Ash by Elegance. That was good, too. Like,
I already know it's going to be fire. You got a veteran who's in there.
watch Dana.
But her stalking her from the rafters like freaking Sting, I thought that was cool.
You already know what I'm gonna say right now. Two grown men, then they going through a god phase. Every time.
I should do a stream like that, supernatural characters, but I didn't know I could do this from my phone. I started looking at it this morning. I'm like, oh, cool. It's just getting used to the setup a little bit. But other than that,
Very understandable.
Doodle, he needs to hurry up.
Listen,
This dude wanted me to put together a stream. I did my job.
I told him he's like, what is two? It's like, I said 3 o'clock for me, 12 o'clock for you. And I was like, okay. I told him in advance, so.
Yeah. Well, and I just told him that I was live, so that's always been the thing.
Is this? Let that sink in. AEW is even, listen, the only problem that AEW has, and that is the honest truth, is that they just don't have a great market, because nobody know Access Television. Imagine if, I believe they're trying to do this. They're trying to make TNA so noticeable so that they can get a contract. Fox, I'm sorry.
But I think the problem with AEW is that you have people, all of their fan base is basically people who want to watch matches. If you notice and go by all the quarterly hours, their highest ratings are when they have matches mixed with promo segments or an actual program. So when they're doing matches followed up by promo,
and it never works.
That's going to be their highest segments, because you can have a match, but let's say the MJF segments are pretty high rated. That's because you're going to see that. You might see a pull apart. You're going to see some fighting. So, like, you can't just go out there and have a match and then you're done, right? Because nobody's really going to be invested into that. It's about characters, and then you see those characters in those matches, and then that's where your substance comes from.
Yeah, and that's what I've been saying. It's either you got to have both. You got to have characters as well as a great story.
Yeah. It's a combination of things. And AEW just doesn't have it.
Exactly. And
TNA's problem is that the market thing, like you're saying. They're not on a big time network. And Access is kind of hard to get. And Access is on any expanded basic. Like, if they had a regular basic plan, or even like you're talking about the Fox deal, if they get the Fox deal, then I guarantee you their ratings are going to go up closer to 1 million. Then they'll be over 100K. I'll tell you that.
I agree with you.
And I think that they will be closer to 1 million than anything if they get one of those. Because you gotta put yourself, you gotta kind of dumb it down a little bit, and then put yourself in the eye of what the viewer is. Okay, I have a channel. I got basic cable with my internet package, so I don't have a lot of money. What can I find in the top 50 channel? All right, you can say top 30 to top 50. Okay, well, Fox is in there, CW's in there, USA's in there, TNT and TBS. So just off of that, people are going to be flipping through channels. Once you turn on one of the channels, there's your viewer right there. So that's a big reason why WWE and AEW get their numbers, especially AEW getting their numbers, because their numbers aren't that high. Then on top of it, and I think that's a big reason for the viewership. It's just they don't. It's one of those things. Okay, what's your favorite restaurant? Well, me and my wife like Chinese, but we don't eat Chinese all the time because we'll eat and then 2 hours later we're hungry. A lot of places that we eat from, they're going to keep us full all day or all evening. You don't want to pay $40 for a meal and then 2 hours later you got to eat again, right? I think AEW's problem is that they can have a cool little segment for the week, but they don't do anything to get the viewer to come back for more. And we lost. It's all good. Nate will be back in a minute. But what say you guys? What do you guys think about all this stuff? If Nate and I are right or wrong, or you give your guys' opinions? I always appreciate it. But Nate will be back in a minute. Just waiting for him to show back up. All right, I'll try to play some music background for right now until he gets back. And then I'm gonna try to plug the stream so I can get more people talking about it. Just give me 1 second. I didn't mean to do that, my bad. So I was trying to figure all this stuff out. There we go. Oh, there we go. Garguts, I just watch what I can when I can. I don't know. I even watched NXT the other day. Oh yeah, Garguts. We'll talk about that in a minute. All right, there he is. He's back. Yep.
Yep, loud and clear.
All right. So Garguts says, I just watch what I can when I can. Garguts does try to watch everything. I know that for a fact, but there's just not enough hours in the day to watch everything.
I mean, even I had a hard time trying to get New Japan, and I'm like, God, it's so much.
Yeah. He says, I don't know why I even watched NXT the other day.
You know why? You know why?
Because it had a bunch of former AEW people in it. That's why. Dude, Cody was announced to be there. You're gonna watch it, and then okay, so you gotta look at it. That viewership and that rating is just off of people who are watching USA live when it goes down.
Mm-hmm.
You're not getting all the other stuff. You're not getting the live streams. You're not getting the views from the UK. You're just getting that stateside.
Mm-hmm.
So AEW argue the numbers. Well, in the key demo, yeah, but they're looking at the overall because it's about the overall now.
Mm-hmm.
The key demo hasn't been a thing since back in the day.
I think back at WCW.
Yeah, they still want to argue about the key demo.
Who gives a crap about the demo?
Because also you got to think you have the demo, the 18 to 49, right? But thing about WWE, and this is why, I was on Elite Stream the other night, and his big thing is, why don't they give Triple H as much crap over his screw-ups as Tony Khan? Because the way it's presented. The way it's presented, Tony Khan presents AEW as an Attitude Era style product. Triple H presents WWE as a family product.
A family picture.
So if you see these storylines like the Liv and Dom stuff, that's kind of Degrassi type, they can get away with that because that's part of their demo.
Mm-hmm.
WWE doesn't fall into one type of demo. The freaking AEW, they straight up say, this is the type. Remember the old school type wrestling that ECW and WCW is?
Which
We're
nobody,
bringing that.
which
We're bringing
nobody
that.
cares
With,
for.
yeah, we're bringing that with a modern twist. And that worked, but the thing is, you had good storylines. If you go back to year one, they took a group that was absolute dog shit stateside, and they made something of it, and that group was called the Dark Order.
Mm-hmm.
All right, when the Dark Order first came in AEW, they sucked. They were trash,
They were.
and Brody Lee made them great again. All right, so it was stuff like that.
They gave them purpose. I'll just say that.
You had the falling out of the whole Kenny Omega Hangman Page thing.
You had the Britt Baker and you had the Nyla Rose and Hikaru Shida situation.
You had Kenny versus Mox. The Acclaimed was just starting at that time, so they were fresh, and so you had all this different stuff. And so you had variety. Britt was still a baby face, so she was trying to find her footing. And then
she was good.
And then she ended up turning heel, which was shock to nobody. Nyla Rose was different. And it wasn't just because of her sexuality, it was because of how she wrestled and stuff like that. Now, you had Rio, I've never been a big Rio fan, personally. But the story that they told with that was actually really good. Because they did no pun intended, a swerve. So you started, you're like, there's no way this little Asian girl is going to go over on this big freaking beast. There's no way. Because it would have never happened in any other promotion. And the Rio ends up freaking beating Nyla Rose and becoming the women's champion. And that was a huge pop moment because it's like, it just felt like that wasn't supposed to happen, but then it did. And then they went with it. So it was like 2019, there was a lot of good stuff that happened that year. And once again, okay, so you're going to have the debate, how good is AEW? AEW feels like a developmental. People mistake developmental for indies all the time. So I think it's more developmental and it's not indie. SmackDown is currently on. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, because they're in Scotland and everything. Yeah, awesome. All right, you back?
Yep, loud and clear.
Yeah, so I think AEW is developmental. What is it developmental of? Wrestling in general. So that first year, everybody was trying to find their own footing, and you were also introducing mainstream crowds to these different acts. They took a lot of acts from ROH,
Yes.
SCU, Best Friends, and that's not a bad thing. King Meow says SmackDown's currently on, but it might still come on at 8 o'clock. Yeah, the reason why we're doing the stream now instead of later is because I got to work at 5. So, but thank you for letting us know, King Meow. Like, I appreciate that, dude.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate it, man.
Mm-hmm. But freaking, it's like, so I knew a little bit about Best Friends from when I would watch ROH on the weekends, because that was like my weekend wind down, and me and my mom used to watch that together. And like, she was always a Cody Rhodes fan because she loved Dusty, and then freaking she really didn't care for Cody as a heel, but thought he had a good Intercontinental title run. And then when she saw him, even as a bad guy, when she saw him on the Indies, she just thought Cody was great. And so she was always a Cody fan, and that's when we really got exposed to Cody outside of WWE. And so we were learning about a lot of these acts. They got Best Friends in there. And at first they would do things that I didn't understand, like why the wide camera shot. But it's part of the gimmick. It's part of the whole thing. And like that first year at AEW, you had fresh talent. Everybody was getting at least a little bit of TV time.
And everyone you were invested in.
Yeah. King Meow says, drop kick that like button. Yeah, guys. You like what we're talking about. You like the conversation. Like, subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to get to 500. And then watch hours so I get monetized. Like, all the support, we definitely appreciate.
Yeah.
But he says AEW to me is declining, but I still watch. Yeah, same here. Like, I'll watch, because I work a lot. I'm only off on Mondays and Tuesdays. So I'll tune in to NXT when they give me a reason. I don't do it all the time. I did it the past 2 weeks. One, with the Jordan Grace coming in and the matches and stuff like that. That really, I love invasion angles. So, and that just being like a surprise collab was cool. And then, of course, I'm going to tune in if freaking Cody's going to be there. But that was cool. And so Tuesday I'll watch like once or twice a month. But like Raw every Monday, we're doing like we used to do back in the day with the old WCW Nitro parties. Like, we do Monday Night Raw party and stuff like that with me and my wife and the kids. So like it's cool. Like, and so I watch Raw live every Monday. But the others I watch on either playback, clips, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, but let's see what else. They should really make Rampage 2 hours. Yes, I love the fact that TNA and NXT could be working together on a possible raid to NXT. Yeah, that would definitely.
It definitely works. It's just that, yeah, it definitely works because you're making another company well known and give them an established, make them more established than they already are.
Yeah. And also, it's just like cool to see different ideas. Like, people are like, oh, what does WWE get out of it? WWE gets fresh talent that you never thought would show up. And you're used to your certain acts going a certain way. And then when you bring in these big names from other promotions, and then you have them integrate with their big names in their promotion, it's just cool. Like, in my opinion, that's what I think. So, like, there are 2 TNA stars that really want to do a crossover, and I think that would. And one is Joe Hendry. One's Joe Hendry, and the other one's Joe Henry, and the other is Moose. So, like, And from what I heard, they're very interested in doing a crossover, which would be very cool. What do you think?
I would totally love to see Oba Afamwe against Moose. Oh boy, that would be a matchup waiting. That would be a great matchup.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I gotta ask your opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, us being TNA fans. What do you think about them repackaging Wendy Chu? Now there have been a lot of comparisons online of her and Sue Young. So what do you think?
I don't think it was. Well, they did the Sue Young thing back when she was doing the Tai Shang with Xia Li. So I don't think that's a terrible. That was a great comparison, but that's just me.
Yeah.
If you want to make her feel invested, feel important, you gotta get rid of that goddamn that whatever outfit she's wearing, that weird pillowcase, whatever the hell that is. If you do that, then you got lots of money on your hands.
Yeah. All right. I don't want to fall behind in the comments, Nate. So I'm going to read a couple of these comments, and then we'll get your opinion on them. I'll let you answer them, and I'll stay quiet.
Okay.
All right. It says TNA Against All Odds pay-per-views at 8 p.m. tonight. Who's watching?
I am definitely watching.
Yeah, because there's a lot of talk of somebody might be showing up from NXT, so like that would be cool. All right. Also, Moose is interested in WWE. Yeah,
I agree.
definitely.
Well, yeah, I totally agree 1,000%.
Well, yeah.
Because what's his face? Because without the only reason he stayed there because of Scott. Without Scott now, what?
But Moose was always he was in an interview recently. He said he's very loyal to the company he works for. Mm-hmm. So, in that being said, I even think this collaboration's even better because he doesn't have to. He is interested. King says Moose is interested in WWE. Yeah, he can maintain that interest. He can seek out that interest without feeling guilty about it because he's still with TNA, but he can also do stuff with WWE with the working relationship. And if he's more comfortable with it, then we're just going to get that much better material out of Moose. Mm-hmm. Like when he's not feeling, guilty or anything like that, and he can go pursue that, you're going to get the best Moose out there. So,
and also you got ex-WWE guys in TNA, and you got ex-TNA guys in WWE. So it's basically a great vibe. So you got the best of both worlds in both of them.
All right. And I agree, definitely. King Meow also says, I like the old Wendy Chu. Shake my head.
I bet, yeah, but it's just like, if you want to change the gimmick, just remove that freaking sleepwear. Let that die. Let her transform. Make her brand new gear. Make her feel like important, so that people can forget that stupid gimmick. And when it does come back, at least she's.
Well, my thing is, I didn't understand the characters, so that's why I didn't get invested. And that's on me. With a lot of stuff, I learned a lot watching these other promotions and being involved with these communities. Is with certain wrestling promotions, you got to educate yourself. Mm-hmm. Certain wrestling promotions assume that everything this person has done, and me being outside of WWE, WCW, that type of stuff, not being watching it regularly, sometimes I just got to go back and watch old clips and get familiar with the character. And I think that's what my problem was with not getting invested in Jordynne Grace until I actually did, because I didn't educate myself on her other stuff. But then I started watching different rivalries with different people. And then it was just like a light bulb went off one day, and I started getting in, and then I became a fan. All right. King Meow says, I think Moose at the Royal Rumble would be epic, and the Final Four gets dumped out via shenanigans or outside affairs to build up him coming back. Yeah, I could see stuff like that, kind of like how they did Keith Lee a couple years back with the Royal Rumble, and they had him and Brock go toe to toe.
This would be my
Hello? You're cutting out a little bit, Nate. Let's see. Also, New Japan has been recently good as of late. John Moxley, IWGP champ. That's a good look. Defending the title on AEW is not a good look to me, at least. No, that's true. Because the way they position Moxley as AEW or as the main event with the New Japan title.
Mm-hmm.
They feature John Moxley more as a world champion than they do Swerve or when Joe had the title or anything like that. And how they've treated that AEW world title, honestly, in my opinion, has not been good. And that's me being nice. Like, I could say a bunch of stuff, but like, they have been hot-shotting that belt for like the past year. And what made that title special is that the champions, look how long Kenny Omega had the belt. Look how long Jericho had the belt initially. Look how long Moxley had the belt. They had at least 6-month title reigns or more.
Even MJF.
Yeah, look how long MJF had the title. Like, look when CM Punk had the title. Like, they made that title feel special, and that you had to be really damn good to win that. And then they give it to somebody else, put it on somebody else for a moment.
It's basically
and then you don't follow through. Like you don't do any follow through. So Swerve wins the title, big moment. Okay, I get that, but then you have him as the opening match. No celebration the next week on Dynamite.
To the Ring of Honor heavyweight champion.
Yeah. So it didn't make that title win. It's just like, oh, he won a belt.
It's basically the Ron Simmons moment.
Yeah, he won a title. That was it. Swerve is money. I just hope Will doesn't beat him. Yeah, I agree.
They're going to beat him. He's going to get beat.
Do you think or you might be right, because it could go either way, right?
No.
So if you want to do something with Swerve, okay. And this is the thing that I was afraid of when he won the belt, are you just making him a transitional champion?
Which they are.
Which you can go either way, but a lot of people are leaning more towards him as a transitional champion, which is not good because that's what Foley was. And there are several other people that were transitional champions that are good stars. You know, Ric Flair, he was transitional, and that's a hot take coming from me, but like, because Flair would put the belt on whoever the next big star was.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but like, and I love Swerve when they did Hit Row in NXT and then WWE, especially NXT.
But remember,
because everybody felt special.
Mm-hmm. Top dollar.
Everybody had a different part to play in that group, and I loved it. And like, Swerve felt like a leader. He didn't feel like a leader when they did the Mogul Embassy and all that stuff.
Nope. He felt like a follower.
Yeah. But I agree with this comment. Swerve is money, but they just got to use him better. And the sad thing is Swerve thinks that he's being used great.
Which he is not.
And that's why everybody, including Bully Ray on Busted Open, was complaining about it. because we're like, you should be used better.
Agree. But like I said this before. The champion is great as the challenge.
Yeah. And like a lot of crowds now, I don't think they're into championship reigns like they used to be. Like you wouldn't hear one person when Cody was in the chase, you wouldn't hear one person boo that dude.
No.
Finish the story, win the title. We love you, Cody. Ever since he won the belt, it's been 50-50.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter who you could have put him up against The Rock as soon as freaking he beat Roman for the title. It still wouldn't have mattered. Because I think people are in it for the chase now. They're not really in it for the reign.
And that's a big problem when it comes to if you're in it for the chase. I don't care if you're chasing. I don't care if the person is chasing. You got to understand is that the challengers that the champion has will make the reign even bigger.
Yeah, I agree. Let me read this one comment because I think he has to get going. But it says, before I go, I have to go with WWE only because how the last year Triple H has really brought hope back into wrestling with storytelling and production value. Y'all stay safe. Praying hands emoji. Thanks. And we appreciate you coming in, giving your input. We always love hearing other wrestling opinions. Welcome to the channel. If you're not subscribed, subscribe to us. We'd love to have you in more chats and
share it with your friends.
And thanks for hanging out with us. We appreciate you coming on. But yeah, that's another opinion. Why is there so much goodwill towards WWE? That's why I did this stream. It sucks that freaking Elite couldn't make it, but I hope he can join us on another one. Because now that I know I can do this from my phone, we're gonna be doing it more often. But yeah, like that's the thing. We've had so much bad stuff. And you heard Paul Heyman at the freaking Hall of Fame speech. Triple H has come to the talent and said, I welcome your ideas. I might not put all of them through, but I want you to be more creative with your character and your storyline and tell me what you think about stuff. So he's welcoming ideas, and that's what it's about, you know.
And that is a terrible comparison from Vince McMahon because he did things that he believes that makes.
He didn't give a shit about the talent opinion.
Exactly. And you had wide-nosed douchebag yes men like John Laurinaitis and others who sucks up and say, "Oh, that's great, boss. That's doing my job."
Yeah, but the point is, Vince's leadership was more of a dictatorship, and Triple H, and here's the point, and I'm going to say this loud and clear so everybody will understand where I'm coming from. Triple H brings optimism. That is the number one key why people love Triple H. Us who are the Triple H guys, we're that for a reason, because Triple H brings optimism. If you have a genuine complaint, you bring it to him and he listens. He listens more than anything, but he provides optimism so people can just be heard.
Agree.
You know, Liv Morgan would not get this run that she's getting under the old Vince era. Hell, Ronda Rousey had a bat to vouch for just for her to get any world titles whatsoever. But freaking, this is a genuine run. Not anybody politicking backstage, but because the boss sees something in her and sees that you could. The title, there should be a story around the title. That's what embellishes the title, because when you think of a champion, you're like, oh yeah, I remember when so-and-so was champion with that storyline. That was cool. Like, all right, we never forget at WrestleMania, I forget what year it was, back when we had Brett and Shawn in the Iron Man match, because that was a storyline around that title. Like Austin versus McMahon, it was because Stone Cold, despite everything, kept winning the belt. And he was the top champion, top star in the company, and Vince kept trying to hold him down. Like a lot of people's bosses try to hold him down at work. So Steve Austin was the most relatable person at the time. I'll never forget the series of matches for the Intercontinental title between The Rock and Triple H. That was my favorite mid-card feud of my entire childhood. So if you have a good story around the title, it makes the title, in my opinion, seem more important and better. But Triple H brings optimism. Creativity is a huge thing with a lot of these guys. You'll hear these guys go on podcasts and talk about it's the creative is why they left. They didn't like their creative. Like Moxley, when he left and went to AEW, he did that. When Jericho was with AEW, it was creativity. A lot of these guys, you can get paid all the money in the world, but if you're creative, ain't that great. I just
Who cares
don't
about
want
the
to
money?
stick around. Yeah, like a lot of people leaving AEW and going to WWE. It's about creative.
Mm-hmm.
Jade Cargo was making tons of money at freaking AEW, but she didn't like her creative, and that's why she left. Cody, his creative, why he left. Ethan Page, they didn't even make him a mid-carder. He was in the undercard. He had to do something with his career.
And now he's in the hunt for the NXT title.
Yeah,
Like, Hail to the King is doing his own
they
thing.
want to feel, in my opinion, I think these talents want to feel like they have a purpose, that what they're doing matters to someone. Like, not just feel like they're important, but feel like they're serving a purpose for something.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's why they're leaving to go to the other places.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem with AEW, you got so many disgruntled talent there, it's ridiculous. They left WWE to go to AEW because they thought they were going to get this good creative, and then they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think it's one of those, oh crap, what did I sign up for kind of moments.
That sounds basically like it. But like I said, you got to make your people feel. You got to make the audience invest in your work.
Yeah. Now I'm not saying. Yeah. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's fine. But I'm just saying, if the wrestlers don't feel invested with your product, and with other people are not invested in your product, why should the other people care?
Yeah. But it's not like everything AEW does is bad. There are some good moments, MJF's a big star. Like he is like Triple H in the part of his career where he could play a babyface or heel, and I think everybody would get invested to it. They're more of him being a babyface because where he just came back. But like when they were doing the Kenny stuff for a couple weeks, that was cool. Like, so you have these people that can have good creative, so you see that it's within them to do it. But just like Tony's trying to do everything himself, and that's not good. You need someone who knows the wrestling business, knows what hits, that can filter those ideas and say, okay, here's the good ones, we're going to go with that. Here's the bad ones, we don't want to go with that. But you have, it's like Paul Heyman at the end of ECW. Not every one of his ideas was great. Some of them were absolute crap. And he didn't have anyone to filter those ideas through, so he couldn't nix the bad ideas and go with the good ideas. And I think that's AEW's biggest problem. And at the same time, okay, so I was listening to Eric Bischoff's podcast. Do you know at WCW's peak, their roster size was 126, right? And you think that many wrestlers, that's a lot, right? So that's why sometimes you'd see people on TV you wouldn't.
Mhm.
All right. Do you know what AEW's roster size is? AEW's roster size is 237. To say that talents are getting lost in the shuffle is an understatement. And then on top of that, one person booking all those talents, of course, you can only come up with so many good ideas. And then on top of that, you mix the toxic nature of he's going to book the way he wants. He doesn't care what anybody thinks. Like, yeah, it gets bad, but that's why you need a creative person. Like you were saying, Nate, a Scott D'Amore, a D'Lo Brown, somebody like that knows what hits. But yeah, what are your guys' thoughts? What do you think about this? I'm going to have to wrap this up, unfortunately, because I got to get to work in like 45 minutes, but we'll definitely continue the discussion later on. We'll probably do something Monday, but I want to start doing more reviews, so that would be cool. But thanks for joining us, guys. You let us know. Leave comments. We'll freaking read them on the next show. I'm gonna be busy Saturday and Sunday, but we'll be back. We'll be back Monday. I'll probably do some game streaming tonight. But you guys stay safe. Have a good one, and we'll see you in the next one.